Dresses are for girls. Boys should be strong. Sit like a lady. Fight me like a real man. All too often, people force one another into boxes. It has become evident that society favors binaries. Black or white, gay or straight, good or bad, male or female, skinny or fat, believer or non-believer, up or down, liberal or conservative, right or wrong, masculine or feminine. However, it is even more apparent that people do not tend to fall into one category or another regarding their human identities. Gender, one of the most basic forms of human expression, entails a more spiritual and fluid essence than most would award it. Although femininity and masculinity are unique features to each of the 7 billion plus people on Earth, society has confined each individual to one role or another regarding gender. While sex is a natural binary, being defined by Merriam-Webster as distinguished respectively as female or male, especially on the basis of their reproductive organs and structures, the recognition of gender is a social construct. Historically, men and women's roles in society have changed as society itself changes. Throughout different cultures, men and women experience life differently. Realities such as these only show the subjectivity and fragility of the gender phenomena as we know it. Fashion, which is often created by those who defy gender and encapsulate creativity, is received by society as either male or female. In essence, clothing is merely pieces of fabric used to protect oneself from the elements and elicit aesthetic appeal. However, dresses, heels, and jewelry are assigned to girls while pants are for men. Blurring these lines is often seen as a political or comedic statement rather than for what it is, a person wearing a piece of clothing. Heels, originally created for men who wanted to feel more superior, are now a symbol of femininity, while men who wear heels are looked at as inferior. The same concept goes for makeup. What is merely pigments used to change the appearance of one's face for artistic or corrective measures is constricted to females. Women are expected to wear makeup to seem more visually appealing by society's unrealistic standards, while they are simultaneously ridiculed for cheating their appearance and appearing unrealistic. While women are told they cannot be beautiful without makeup, males who wear makeup are ridiculed for being effeminate, equating being female with negativity. Not only is this a double standard, but it's sexist. Historically, one of the most prominent groups to defy and transform society's gender expectations has been drag performers. Some argue that drag queens mock women, but in actuality they play on the gender roles associated with womanhood rather than on being female itself. Believing that heels, makeup, and extravagant clothing constitute womanhood perpetuates fragile femininity. Many drag performers are transgender and gender non-conforming individuals themselves and use the art form for what it is, a way to express themselves without limits. In essence, that is what gender truly is, an act of self-expression. Unfortunately, some see the need for limits. As kids, boys are expected to play with trucks and soldiers, while little girls are expected to play with dolls and tea sets. Instead of being allowed to choose what appeals to them, kids are made to shop from the blue section or pink section of the store based on their gender. While they find that they may not be interested in choosing from the box that they are forced into, kids not only face faltering self-worth, but they also face discrimination from those around them. Growing up, these social pressures only become more prevalent, eliciting such facts as suicide being the second leading cause of death among young people. Transgender and gender non-conforming persons, those who transcend the traditional roles of their assigned sex, face tremendous ridicule for their unique gender identities. When a person leaves the black or white areas of social expectation and enters into the gray in between, others react in fear, further leading to anger and violence. Much like toddlers on Christmas morning, ignorance propels people to become distracted by gender boxes themselves rather than focusing on the unique qualities of the gift waiting inside. Despite the positive contributions that a person may make to the world, that person is diluted to an it, faggot, tranny, and dyke in the eyes of those who cannot see character and humanity past a feeble social role. Some may argue that it is sticks and stones that break bones, not words and ideas. But words are one of the most powerful components of human interaction, and such expressions represent a microcosm for larger realities. These individuals face social, political, and economic marginalization merely because of who they are. Ultimately, they are stripped of their identities in exchange for social approval. Going into life, it is important for each person to live as a fully realized and honest entity. To achieve a more cohesive society, each person must be able to expand his mind to value all varieties of self-expression. Those who perpetuate discrimination almost entirely do so out of ignorance and not hatred. To combat this, individuals must first embrace their own uniqueness, even if they have to fight for the right to do so. In leading by an example of acceptance and freedom, others will do the same. It is important to know that sometimes things are offensive and must be stopped, and other times it is okay to be offended. The most important realization is that each person is just that, a person, with unique ideas and perceptions about the world around him. One must never censor himself because of the constraints of society, but should realize that his actions should only contribute to the benefit of the world as a whole. Rather than forcing one's own beliefs upon another or discrediting someone else's individuality, it is necessary to find common ground and practice open dialogue. After all, society is only the culmination of individual beliefs. Whether it be class, religion, sexuality, culture, or gender, it is okay to step outside the box and explore the splendor that comes with the unknown. Realize that putting things into boxes is for moving out. Unpack your places in the world.